Well, hello everyone, this is Vapian here again, doing my first hardware review. I'm going to talk to you about a little mod called the Twig. So, for my first hardware review, I thought I would touch on something kind of basic, yet at the same time kind of cool. Something that would be perhaps a step up for some folks that might be looking to get out of your pre-manufactured ego, Kago, go-go type, batteries where you just screw things straight into the battery as you get it. And also something that might be an interesting step back from really fancy high-end mods. And I mean, I've got some of those, I enjoy using them, but there are times when it's just really great to pick up something really simple and screw on a low resistance atomizer or cartomizer and just sit back and relax and enjoy the experience of vaping without having to think about dials and switches and displays and power and voltage and all that good stuff. You find the right combination of battery and cartomizer and sit back and relax. And that's kind of what this piece does. It is made by ECig Workshop. Throw a .com at the end of that if you want to get to their website, which I recommend you do. And this device is called the Twig. Pretty basic mod. The interesting thing is, I mean, I haven't really seen any small wood mods like this one before, which is kind of why it caught my eye once I found out about their website. In any event, let me talk about the details of it, and then I will give you some impressions. As far as this goes, this one's made out of cherry, and externally there's not a whole lot to it. It's wood on the outside. Got a standard horn switch on there. Just a comment on this. Listen. You hear that? Yeah, neither do I. It's not a real clicky tactile switch, but it does function. I've never had it fail to fire. On the top we have a 510 connection. You'll note that it's got no drip well or anything like that. So if you were to use an atomizer on there, I would say get something like a 306 DCA or put a drip shield on there with a sealed end connector so you don't get liquid on the top of this. Otherwise, with cartomizers and tanks it works great. Also on the top you'll notice the connector is a little bit off center front to back. Not a big deal, it's just something to note. Probably has to do with avoiding some stuff on the inside of this. As far as the bottom goes, just got a little wood block in there to seal off the end of the battery compartment. And to get to the battery, we have a chunk of cherry, a couple of magnets on it to hold it in place. And inside, the workmanship is very neat. There was no sawdust or anything. All the insides have been sanded. The quality of the connectors for the battery looks very good. The soldering looks like it was well done. The switch has been screwed and glued in there, and of course you've got the magnets top and bottom, and going up through the top there is the wiring that goes to the atomizer connector. Without the battery, this thing weighs about 1.6 ounces. With an 18350 battery in there, it weighs about 2.4 ounces. The whole thing is about 3.6 inches tall, about 1.2 inches from front to back, 1.3 inches from side to side, and if you include the button on that front to back measurement, you're looking at about 1.6, 1.46. So about an inch and a half. It's a very comfortable size. Obviously it's larger than your standard Ego, Kago type battery, but it feels good in the hand. As far as the features go, that's really all there is to this. It looks great with my new root beer M1A tank on there, and frankly it just vapes. And that's with a 1.7 ohm dual coil on there. And it just works. I'm not going to say it hits like a freight train or hits better than any other battery mod I've ever used. I find it amusing when people say things like that. Dude, if something like that happens, it's probably just because you've got your first new battery in a couple of months. This mod is just a box for your battery and a switch to turn it on. A couple of things I will just point out. This one is made out of cherry, so you'll notice on the back here where this battery door goes in, you can kind of see the gaps here. Now you've got to have a little bit of a gap there in order for the door to come out and to go back on easily without damaging it. If this were made out of a darker wood, then you probably wouldn't even notice those. In my case, it's a little visible. And about the only thing I can say as far as use goes, the only minor issue that I ran into with it was sometimes when I first started using this, when I push on the battery button, I'd kind of bring my fingers down and that sort of slides the door off of its magnet. Worst case though, it might fall off. In actual use, what it tended to do was hang on to the battery. So as long as you're aware of that issue and don't actually slide your fingers down the back of it, wouldn't be a problem. If you like the idea of a handmade wood mod, but don't like the idea of that magnetic door, they make another model called the Dinky, which is a little bit bigger but does have a hinged door on it. So there's still an option for you. Feature wise, there's really nothing more to say. It holds the battery, the switch goes on, you can vape. What I will say about this aesthetically is I really like this. I'm the kind of guy that buys furniture you can live in. I don't like buying furniture that you have to put plastic on or you're worried about scratching or anything like that. I bought this end up stuff for years because I don't care if it gets scratched. If it annoys me later on, I'll sand it down, I'll restain it, and I'll go. That's kind of the aesthetic that I get from this mod. It's naturally finished, it's not glossy or anything like that. I can see this getting stained with finger grease over the years, kind of building up some character, getting a little darker and richer as I use it. It just feels more natural than any other mod that I've got because it's the first one I've had that's completely made out of wood. I mean, I know there are fancier mods out there. They have juice feeders and things like that, and some of them are even variable voltage, and that wasn't the point for me. I wanted something very simple, very basic. This just feels good. So I have to say, just for the aesthetic, I really like this twig from ecigworkshop.com, and this is one that I bought myself. I just found the website and I really like the appeal of it. It is a step back from, like I say, all those the high-powered and the fancy mods. They're great. Don't get me wrong. I love them. I've got some others that I'm going to talk about, and I'm probably not going to get rid of any of them because they all serve their purpose at some point in time. But when I just want to sit back with a cup of coffee, you know, I can see myself stepping out in the sunroom with this in the morning and just vaping away, and it just feels right. I can't really tell you why. If you don't get why something like this has an appeal, then you probably don't want one. If you do, I would say go out there and get one of these. I think almost all of his mods on his website are selling for like 45 bucks. Looks like some of them go up to maybe $60 or $70 for ones that hold 18 350 batteries, and whether that's worth it is up to you. At $45, this is about the most I would pay for something like this. A little bit lower would probably get a few more people on board, given the fact that there's not a lot of other fancy features to recommend it. At the same time, come on, if you're the kind of person that appreciates natural things and getting back to nature, I mean, we can't get past the fact that as vapors we're always going to need batteries, right? But we can put them in a nice little case here and kind of kid ourselves that we're stepping back into the olden days a little bit. And that's the kind of aesthetic, the kind of feel that I get out of this, and I enjoy it. You're either going to get this or you won't, as far as the idea behind it. So if this doesn't appeal to you, then, well, I'm surprised you watched this far. If it does, hey, check these things out. Go over to ecigworkshop.com, tell them Vapian sent you, and I hope you, if you do pick one of these up, that you'll let me know what you think. I will be reviewing other hardware. I've got variable voltage, variable power stuff. I've got some basic stuff that I'm going to go talk about. Some stuff that goes all across the range. So hopefully I will address those kind of niche devices as we go. I will say that one of the devices that I will be reviewing in the very near future will include not only a review, but also a contest of some sort to win that very device. I can't tell you what it is right now, but it will be coming sometime in the next month or so. So keep your eyes open on here, subscribe, send your friends, and I hope to see you again here on YouTube later. Take care now.